I think there's more to come in this sector.
Okay. Well, Rahul, pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for giving your views on markets, macros, and a bunch of sectors as well. Have a good week. Well, let's get back to the markets and to specific stocks. Markets at the moment still showing the early morning weakness. Let's see when the dip is bought. At the moment, it's plumbing new lows, as you can see. Lows for the day only, and that's just 15 minutes or 20 minutes old. So nothing cataclysmic, but still the market is in a giving mood, in a profit-taking mood. Let's concentrate on the other big theme that we have been chasing for the last 40 days, restarting India. At the moment, we have with us a company which should know it best, BATA India. They had opened just about half of their stores as of May end, I think, when we last heard from them, to find out how things are on the ground and what segments and products are selling, how much are they selling, what proportion of sales are coming from e-commerce, all those questions to Sandeep Kataria, CEO, BATA India, who joins us now. Sandeep, well, I want to first start by offering my condolences. I mean, it's a big loss for all of us, but for you, it is your brand ambassador, Sushant Singh Rajput.
Really saddened. We had a great relationship with a really versatile and talented actor. Just over 2 years, he was very dear to all of us. We are all saddened, and at this moment, all we can do is really offer our condolences to his family, his friends, and his fans, and hope God gives us the energy to see through this tough time.
Yeah, I know it's not very good to introduce a point of business, but would you have to amortize some losses in terms of what you may have paid for him? But separately, also tell us, how's business? How much has started? What are the supply side problems you have, and how's demand?
I think the business has started. We are slowly ramping up. As I like to believe, we will see the crisis in 4 phases. There was the survival, now the revival. We will go to revitalize and then hopefully soon to thrive. So we are in the revival phase right now, where more and more of our stores are opening up. Now we have just over 1,000 of our 1,400 stores open. Business is slowly moving up, ramping up. We were able to open a few of our mall stores last week. So that was a new add for us. As you said, it's both a demand and a supply crisis. And as the demand starts to come in, we will now need to also make sure that we are able to ramp up our supply chains to be able to cater to that.
Yeah, if you can throw in some numbers in the stores that are open compared to last June, what would you be doing? I mean, 50%, 40%?
Lata, because we have such a wide range of our stores, I can give you a range, because there are stores which are doing about 35-40% of last year. There are stores which are doing 70% of last year as well. And therefore, it varies quite significantly across towns. Lower tier towns which opened earlier have ramped up a bit better. The big metros have only opened in the last couple of weeks, so whether it's Mumbai or Kolkata or Delhi. And we're also seeing our bigger stores in the malls only opening right now. So currently, I can only give you a range. It's in that range. But we're hoping that as more of our stores open for longer times in the week, we will then be able to give a better estimate of how demand will really shape up.
Okay. Yes, I take your point. And I want to give a bravery award for people in the 70% shop areas. I think now it's not really government or companies. It has to be people who have to get out of this unwarranted fear psychosis. I would think, at least. I've been coming to office every day. Sandeep, what about supply side? I mean, are you getting raw material? Are your people to whom you have jobbed out able to get supplies? Is supply not even the issue? The issue is demand.
Absolutely. Right now, really, demand is the issue.
Okay.
For a brand like ours or anybody who's in the fashion, footwear, apparel industry, they'll tell you that we obviously work with a lot of stocks in our stores. the fact that we've missed out of almost 8 to 10 weeks of sales means we've had stock which will be available to cater to the demand as it comes in. There were seasonal products like our monsoon range, which is currently required, which we had ramped up ahead, thankfully, of the lockdown. So that part has been catered to. It's only when we start seeing the demand come in is when we will have to look at our factories to ramp up. We will be opening our first factory this week in Bata Nagar, one of our biggest factories around the world, which will be opening up in a minor way this week to make sure that things start chugging along. How much ramping up will happen, where will we produce to, will really depend on demand.
Yes, that is my issue on demand, Sandeep. I know we are all shooting in the dark, but I'm currently wearing the Bata rubber shoes which I bought last year, and it's lasting because we are not walking much. So how would you estimate demand? Because we may see a long time before people start walking onto the streets as much as they used to.
Yes, that's true. I think walking on the street may not be happening of the same amount, but what we are seeing is people are finding ways to stay active at home. People have found regimes to stay fit, and therefore which is reflecting, for example, in our power shoes, which are helping people stay active at home. They have seen a much faster demand ramp up. Also, with a brand like Bata, we have a assortment which goes pretty wide. Starting from chappals, sandals, which you wear at home, to the monsoon range, which has been getting good response over the last week or so as monsoon has hit the western coast. And therefore, the wide variety is helping us get some of our consumers back, some of the demand back. How will this shape up? Really, I think it's too presumptuous. It will be too early and too presumptuous for us to be able to predict. Right now, the phase we are all in is to be in an intensive learning mode. We've got our ears to the ground and really tracking how this will shape up. We're learning every single day as more of our stores open up, as we get to hear more and more data and see more of the trends shaping up.
Okay. Sandeep, hi, good morning. Just a couple of questions from my end in terms of how you're managing expenses right now. Have you had any kind of working capital stress, and have you had to take any credit line to manage expenses? Also on rent renegotiations with landlords, what's the status check there?
Yeah, I think for us, the biggest cost, given the huge retail footprint we have, are indeed the rentals. And I'm very glad to say that a lot of our landlords have been really in the spirit of partnership coming together with us. We've been able to have an agreement with almost 65% of our landlords already, where, as I said, in the spirit of partnership, we've agreed how we will take care of the lockdown period, but also as we see the sales ramping up, as the demand ramping up, a phased coming back to the original rentals. This is something which has been working. The team has been really been in touch with our landlords over the last 6 to 8 weeks. Yeoman service from them to interact, agree, discuss with landlords. And also a word of thanks to our landlords who have been really reaching out and really in the spirit of partnership agreeing the way forward with us.
That's great. That's really nice to hear that, everyone's trying to adjust and make it easier for the other person to conduct business. But in terms of your store addition plans for the year, have you recalibrated that lower? I know you're optimistic that demand is going to recover, but if it doesn't to the scale that you expect, would you go slow on store additions, and what is the count looking like at the moment?
Yeah, so for the moment, we have put a stop to opening up of our company stores in cities and towns where we are already present. That will be a go slow. It's only the stores which are already in fit outs which will open. But having said that, we have a lot of opportunity in the smaller towns in the countries through our franchise partnership route, which has been a big engine of growth for us in the recent past. That will continue. So we can reach out to towns where we did not have presence right now. As far as the bigger towns is concerned, that is something we will come back to as we see how demand ramps up.
Okay, so Mr. Kataria, I had a final question for you. How is e-commerce doing? And in the sales that you're doing, would you say that higher value add or consumer down trading, any trends at all vis-a-vis say last June?
Let me take the second part of your question first. What we are seeing is a different set of categories working well right now. As you would expect, people have been looking at buying their necessities, chappals, sandals, things for daily wear first, and therefore those are the categories which have moved up. Those are typically slightly lower value, and hence that is an impact on the overall turnover. As far as e-commerce is concerned, we are approaching it in a holistic manner. We've always been very active on the marketplaces in the country, and we're ramping that up. There are more items now available than there ever were. We've also really boosted up BATA.in, which is already our biggest store in the country, and that's showing the best ramping up for pre-COVID to post-COVID. The other thing which we have started also is a chat shop where consumers can now reach out on WhatsApp to our neighborhood stores, where our store managers can actually interact with them, show them the products which are available, and then home deliver the products, sometimes 2 or 3 shoes of the same type but of different sizes for consumers to even try. Our focus, of course, right now has been on making sure in the stores we are doing everything to build the confidence both of our own teams but also of consumers. So a lot of focus has gone into quarantining the shoes when they are tried out. First of all, sanitizing the stores, making sure our teams are fully equipped and understand all that is needed from the sanitizing of surfaces, on regular washing of hands, of making sure that we have completely contactless exchange of and all transactions can be contactless. So a whole lot of work there to make sure that we are able to bring the confidence back for consumers as well as our own teams.
All right. Mr. Kataria, pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for giving us such a wide-ranging view of how one consumer good is doing, shoes. Thanks a lot for joining us. We have to take a break, and thereafter we're going to discuss things financial. Not surprising on this channel. We're going to discuss the banking and the non-banking sector. Suresh Ganapati, the banking analyst from Macquarie Capital, will be joining us.
Brought to you